Hello, it's me again. Wrong button. I don't have an intro, but I have one of these sound card things. So let's put in one of these sample intros. Kind of stop short there. Bit naff, but anyway, I decided to come on. I've had a question that I keep being asked, and I actually took a couple of days to think over this and gather my thoughts on it. We often say things, and I've said it myself, and I have to retract it right now, that it's no wonder the science community does not take us serious when we have people like Mr. Huffley's and that kind of thing. Thing is, science community isn't going to be looking at YouTube to find something to study about the paranormal. For years, paranormal investigators have been complaining that the science community doesn't take the paranormal serious. Now, I've thoughts in my head here, and it's only my opinion, so I'm going to just throw them out there. The science community, when it comes to science, what I think is happening in the science world is the projects that are being worked on, especially government scientists, there is a budget for that research. And the reason why there's a budget for that research is to pay scientists and get them what they need to do their science research. The reason why they're approved for budgets is it's a business decision. You invest money into it. The plan is you get money out of it. You make a profit with it. What's happening, I think, this is only my opinion. Feel free to share what you think in the comments. The paranormal community is knocking on the scientist's doorstep with empty pockets. I mean, like, we say the paranormal community is not a business. And it isn't. It's not a multi-million pound business. Yes, you have these cottage industries. You got these individuals that make paranormal equipment and experiment. And they experiment on their own time. If they come up with something fantastic, they'll market it. And they make some money off it. But that is a small pot of money in comparison to the other things that scientists work on. The one thing that I've said previously, I can't remember when I said it, but I said it on a stream. Could have been both paranormal stream. It could have been one of my own videos that the paranormal is the paranormal hasn't advanced in technology in comparison to other things like our everyday technology, consumer items, TVs, computers, that sort of thing. But that may be true, but that doesn't mean that the paranormal community hasn't advanced in technology. It's just we don't actually see an awful lot of it on YouTube. If you take example, you've got a lot of these channels in America, hunters, and you've got these gun channels. These channels about guns and survival and defense and all that kind of stuff. The scientists put an awful lot of energy into defense, and it's a lot of the time it's through the government, and the reason for that is there's a massive budget for that, but at the same time there is a big profit in defense, in the line of the military. One of the big, we look at YouTube channels, we look at paranormal content on YouTube. You'll see people going out with a Spurt Box, a REM pod, and a K2 meter and a camera, and very often a lot of people we're copying each other here. We're not thinking outside the box. Hello, how are you? Phoebe always knows when I'm on camera. Seems to. There's no treats. I'm sorry, no treats tonight. Go back up in the chair here. But when it comes to military and defense, that's there's a massive budget in investments in military technology. But the scientists aren't working directly with hunters, just like they're not working directly on the paranormal. But the thing is, the military technology very often spills over to the hunters, the night vision technology and stuff like that. That's the way I see the paranormal. We are benefiting with science. Not directly, but indirectly. When it comes to military defense, the American government has invested an awful lot into night vision and thermal technology. In 2018, they made a massive step in that technology. I'll put a few videos in the description here. We went from night vision to night vision thermal, and then now we have just seen coming on to the household or the consumer market, the mixture between night and day vision. And of course, when all these technologies come onto the market at first, very, very expensive, but the prices will come down. So, the paranormal does benefit indirectly through science, through the military, just the same way as the paranormal community benefits through advancements in audio technology as well. There's a lot of work gone into the music industry and the film industry to get the best picture and sound as we possibly can. When it comes to military technology, very often a lot of a lot of major technologies is classified for obvious reason, because you don't want the enemy to know the technology. There was an incident where I think it was the time the Americans tried to capture Bin Laden, and I think it was Bin Laden, where one of the helicopters had a problem, and I think it either crashed or it had a major engine failure, and they had to leave that helicopter. What they'd done with that helicopter is they actually blew it up, because they didn't want the enemy to know and have knowledge of the technology that was inside that helicopter. Some of that technology that's invented goes from the military to civilians, and that's where hunters and these gun people, I don't know what do you call them, they go to gun ranges and they're big into guns and stuff like that. They benefit from that. The paranormal investigator the paranormal investigator benefits from the advances in night vision technology, and the hunters and wildlife enthusiasts, they all benefit from that science, as well as home security and stuff like that. In a lot of cases, though, the military technology, what we get is a watered down version, and in a lot of cases. For instance, night vision technology. It is illegal to. It's illegal outside the United States to have a certain strength beyond a certain point. I don't know the facts and figures to that. When it comes to thermal technology, you'll see some of these videos on helicopters searching for fugitives, and the imagery is very, very clear. In order to have that kind of technology, anything near that technology, you're talking thousands. I've seen two guys that were talking about night vision in relation to their hunting, and one guy says, what would be the lowest amount that I would have to spend to have good night vision, good long range night vision, and the guy says about 2,000 quid. The other guy says, could I get away with 1,000 quid? And he says, yeah, you'd be kind of scraping the barrel there when it comes to visuals and you're trying to see. Don't skimp on it, sort of thing. So my Seek Thermal Reveal is a £300 piece of kit. Yes, the imagery is grainy. You can make out the outline of objects in front of you, but it is nowhere near. It's nowhere near military spec. You have to have a special license outside to take some of the higher grade night vision outside of the US. I'm not quite sure. I think in order to own certain thermal of a higher resolution, you need some sort of licensing there because it's actually classed as a weapon for some reason. But there is plenty of stuff that's probably classified, and in the future, when it's unclassified, we may get a watered down version of it. So what I'm trying to say is, we don't directly get benefit from science, but we get benefit from science indirectly through other means, and very often it's we call it ghost hunting. We don't go out with guns looking for ghosts, but we do go out to places, in dark places, looking for the unknown and that. And when it comes to that kind of thing, audio and visuals is the two most important things. So, the advancements in the film industry, the music industry, and in the military all benefit the paranormal. Although on YouTube you don't see that being utilized to its full potential. I recently actually bought a long range night vision camera that mounts on a helmet and it comes down, like the Terminator, and you look through a screen, and I don't know what the strength of this IR light, but the range is 100 yards, 150 yards. It says on the manufacturer's instructions, but a lot of people are saying it is more like 100 yards or 100 meters. I can't remember. I think it's 100 meters. Where you'll get clear nighttime vision, and but you don't see paranormal people using that kind of technology. I'm going to be using that in the future. I'm actually building. I have the helmet. I have the actual helmet here, actually, and what happens is the camera's mounted here, and it moves up and down. So the camera is actually quite big. You can have two. There's two types of the camera. It's a monocular or a binocular, where your two eyes look in on it. The one that I have is binocular, and it's basically a little screen. There's 7 different levels of IR that it looks through, and sees an ordinary day vision as well, and it does take photographs and it does record. The thing with the record is it doesn't record audio. But if you wanted to put audio there, you could have a separate audio. You could have a little microphone clipped onto you, or in a headset, and record the audio separate if you wanted to. That is long range observation, and that kind of technology would also be useful in for people that are interested in UFOs, unidentified flying objects, and Bigfoot. There's Bigfoot enthusiasts and stuff like that. The long range IR would be a very useful tool, and that actually was military technology originally. So that is some examples of where science indirectly benefits the paranormal community. But we do have ITC researchers and the science community. They say that the science community won't take them serious either. The thing is, Now, I'm only putting an opinion out there. When it comes to science, it's possibly governed by money. And there's no money. I don't think there's any money prospects in proving or disproving the paranormal. Like, where is the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, which scientists often do things for? Do you know? At the end of the day, a lot of things is governed by money and profit. And at the end of the day, too, what percentage of the population is actually interested in the paranormal? If it was a large percentage of the population, yes, maybe there would be profits made from it in inventions of devices and equipment specifically geared towards the paranormal. But then, at the same time, if that kind of work was being carried out to visually see the paranormal, would the military be very interested in that as well? So, you kind of, you've crossed lines here. And as well as that, the military have better equipment than civilians do. It's just the way it is. That's my opinion. But say if somebody had invented something, invented a camera that could see through walls, and it was based on paranormal research, would the government step in and say, this is a breach in our security? We can't make this public? Because some of these countries that have enemy countries, they wouldn't want that kind of technology to get out to them. So then the government would silence that invention, and the military's going to take it anyway. So, it's a very, very difficult one. But I don't know, I'm interested in your thoughts on what I'm trying to get across here. Would the science community would turn around and say to us, what benefits to humanity is proving or disproving the paranormal? As well as that, a lot of the money is the taxpayers' money. If a government was to give scientists a grant to investigate and research the paranormal, would that piss the taxpayer off? Would the taxpayer says, I'm paying my tax to the scientists and the government, and they're squandering it looking for flipping ghosts? Do you see where I'm coming from here? Many people that research the paranormal, you could call them amateur scientists, are doing it off their own back. It's their own thing. they don't have a huge team around them. You know, and through their research, they will be still dependent on technology that was researched through the military, the film industry, and the music industry. And trying to improve on that. But that's what the paranormal community stands in the whole scheme of things. Like, what I'm trying to bring across here on this video is, when it comes to paranormal investigating and paranormal research, don't have the blinkers on. Look outside the box. What technologies would benefit you in your research? For example, years ago, I think they're still sort of using them now. We have a parabolic dish. Now, I have a parabolic dish that's about that size, and it's a pain in the arse to bring to a location. But that was, a parabolic microphone that picks up even the tiniest of sound in a directional manner. Thing is, because advancements in the music industry, you've got these big shotgun microphones that are about that size. I have one about that size there, and it takes up, it works. That technology now is working just as good as my parabolic microphone is. So we have advanced in that kind of way. Would the scientists be put off by what they see on YouTube, in regard to Mr. Huffley's and many others? I don't necessarily think that scientists are going to pay too much heed to YouTube, because I think when it comes to ghost hunting and the paranormal, a lot of us seem to be caught up in this YouTube bubble, when there's an awful lot more research done outside of YouTube. When you think about it, how long is YouTube on the internet? And what about the research before that? So I don't think when it comes to paranormal research that the scientists has actually been put off by inflated egos like Mr. Huff. They're going to see through it anyway, and then do their own research. And very often when you're thinking in a scientific mind, you want a clean sheet to think, rather than basing your research of other people's opinions and what other people say online, especially YouTube. I don't think if scientists were seriously looking into the paranormal, they're not going to be swayed either way by what they see on YouTube. There has been, evidence of the paranormal. The paranormal exists. People have had personal experiences. We have our day-to-day lives, where we're not on camera all the time and things happen. And indeed, some of these scientists may have experienced paranormal activity themselves. But I don't think a team of scientists would be interested in what we're trying to do. Is it a good thing or a bad thing? There's two sides to it. The paranormal is not a multi-million-pound industry, and that's a good and bad thing. The bad thing is, because it's not a multi-million-pound industry, there's nothing in it for the scientists. At the end of the day, the end goal is money. The end goal is profit. Why put in years and years of research and get nothing out of it? What's in it for them? And what's in it for humanity is the other side of it. And but because the paranormal field has no money, means everybody can do it. Everybody can do their own research, do their own experiments, do their own investigations, but think outside the box at the same time. That is why I often say, when you're looking for equipment to do paranormal investigating, you see some people and they'll go on to a ghost hunting store. They'll buy a PSP-7, REM pod, K2, the usual suspects. I used to do that, but now I got to the stage now where I'm looking outside that, and I've been looking outside that for a while. When it comes to audio recordings, radios, cameras, and night vision, thermal, all that kind of stuff. That's not, in general, not in the ghost hunting stores. People may argue, all audio is. They sell audio recorders. They're Mickey Mouse audio recorders. Yes, they'll work, but as I said before, the two big, important things, if you're to skimp on anything in the paranormal, money-wise, financial-wise, your budget-wise, don't skimp on the audio and visuals, because that's your fishing net for capturing your paranormal activity. It's the two most important things, and if you skimp on that and spend big money on vibration sensors and motion sensors and REM pods and stuff like that, what you're doing is, yes, you're providing trigger objects, but you're using inferior equipment to capture the paranormal that you want to capture, But as I said before, you don't need a massive budget for this. Most phones are pretty good nowadays when it comes to normal vision. Yes, you'll need extra lighting and stuff like that, but in general, the video quality on a modern phone is pretty good. But when it comes to audio, go to the music industry in the line of that. Some of these Tascam DR05, Tascam DR40, Zoom H1, Zoom H4, Zoom H5, 6. Some of these recorders are a mini recording studio of their own. They can do pretty tricky stuff. And some of these recorders are not much more than your office dictaphones that paranormal shops often sell. I find it quite strange that these paranormal stores don't supply the more superior audio recorders like Zoom and Tascam. I find it quite strange, actually. But I hope that helps in some way. Very often people are asking me, is the scientists put off by bullshit on YouTube? I don't think the scientist is going to pay much attention to YouTube at all, because a lot of us have spent an awful lot of time looking at YouTube channels and YouTube paranormal investigations and stuff. But the more I've learned, and I'm only at the beginning of this, the more I've learned, the less I've watched. It just gets smaller and smaller and smaller. And I can count on one hand the amount of people that I pay attention to now, And it's kind of sad. But at the end of the day, YouTube's it's an entertainment platform. The viewer wants to be entertained. Some of us are into entertaining. Some of us are not. Some of us are in just to find the truth and document what we do on a night. We can look back on it, and if we get views on that, we're grateful for that as well. But at the end of the day, what we do is, what we do on this channel is we do a spurt box session. We put it up on YouTube. We put it up completely raw. Then I go through it, and then I find what I need to find. But I think it was, it's important, I think. I don't know if it's a good or a bad decision to just put the Spirit Box session completely raw with no subtitles in. I would probably get more viewers if there was subtitles added. But the thing is, then I've altered the video. And the subtitles is very often just my opinion. And it influences the viewer. And I don't want to do that. That's why I do that. But very often some things do stand out and I don't say anything about it. At the end of the day, I've documented it, I've captured it. It's good enough for me, But, I've just, it's been asked over and over again. And it's sometimes commented, oh, it's no wonder the science community doesn't take us serious. When Hop is doing this and so is doing that, and all this paranormal fakery and bullshit and entertainment. But honestly, I don't. People say, is it damaging to the paranormal community? Of course it is. It makes a complete and utter circus of the whole thing. But I think if scientists were to look deeply into it, I think they would have other sources to look upon, you know. Um, and they would look at it in a logical kind of way, you know, where logic seems to lack on YouTube an awful lot. You know, certainly if when it's coming to me moving forward, the reason why I'm not looking at other channels with a lot of subscribers is the reason why I've stopped looking at a lot of these paranormal channels is it doesn't help my influence, because in the beginning I was influenced by some of these people. By me not watching them, it means I can think outside the box a lot better, rather than following what somebody else is doing. And you'll see a lot of that on YouTube. A lot of people are following what everybody else is doing. And a lot of people are afraid to look outside the box and experimenting with different things. And, you know, that's why we should be looking through military technology, film technology, music industry technology, and maybe some others, you know. And looking at the paranormal that way. What can you use that was invented by science and it helps the paranormal in an indirect way, you know? But let me know in the comments what you think, you know, about the whole subject of science and the paranormal, you know. Certainly, I'm starting to look into it more and more outside the paranormal, because inventions now will affect the paranormal research. When you think of it now, a lot of cars on the road today have night vision cameras in them. You know, these dash cams. Most cities, certainly this one, you would be very, very hard pressed to walk through that city and not be captured by at least a couple of different cameras. Cities are being watched. There's surveillance everywhere. Computer technology has changed. Computer technology is a lot different. And one of the things I was actually thinking about when it came to spirit boxes and spirit box responses, could computers sort out the responses from radio words? In other words, could a programming computer be connected to the spirit box, the audio from the spirit box fed into the computer would figure out the randomness as a normal, because very often we listen for the random normalization of tones and lengths of sentences, the length of a word. Very often you'll get a word that's stretched. The number of words. Computers can do a lot of stuff. I'm sure it can do this. Take that audio, find an average, and then pick out the abnormal. when a response comes in, there's a stretch word and it's outside the normal scan of the radio. Maybe it hasn't been thought of and I just discovered something. But I'm not very good with computers. But I'm sure that there's programming that could do that. Computer experts could help us with that. Just like we don't have experts in the overall paranormal field of things, but there is experts, audio visuals, as I said before. And, you know, when you look kind of outside that, the military technology, people with military backgrounds that have been using high-tech technology, they could be classed as an expert as well. You know, but science is changing all the time. But the focus is on the consumer, military, that kind of thing, because there's more money in it. But paranormal is kind of it's advancing because of the research to all these other things. I'm gonna go, folks. I do have an interview with Rachel very soon. Looks like we could be going out pretty soon as well. Do you know? There has been a big lockdown in Southern Ireland. That's where I do most of my work. As far as I know, that lockdown is finished. And possibility we can get back and do a part 2 to the last investigation that myself and Rachel done. So I'm looking forward to that, because the last time we went to the particular location we went, a lot of things happened in that. So, you know, people have been asking to ask and interview Rachel on what happened on the last investigation that we both investigated. So we were supposed to do it tonight, but it went on a bit too late, and we decided we'll call it off until tomorrow. So hopefully I'll get it done. This video's going out tomorrow, so it's today basically. We're hoping we get an interview today, and you know, I give her an option. Could we do an audio, if you wanted to do an audio radio type thing, or do a camera thing? Oh, she says, we put out a video, you know. So look forward to me talking to Rachel, you know. So yeah, folks, I'm gonna go. I'll see you in the next video, and you know, stay safe and be good to each other.